Do you need some Conan? Oh my God.
So the reason why I need Conan, not yet, but it's my game plan. See, I want to sell Joe Rogan comic books. That's how I'm going to be friends with Joe Rogan, is I'm going to be his comic book hookup. And I'm going to start because he's mentioned on his podcast a few times his love for Conan. So I'm like, oh, I got you. We're going to hook him up with some dope Conan.
Conan the Barbarian, not Coco, Conan O'Brien.
Yes, Conan the Barbarian, not
Okay.
Conan O'Brien.
Okay, because Conan O'Brien's pretty awesome. But
What's with this, like turkey?
no, his
Conan
hair.
O'Brien.
He does that. He just has that hair thing.
He's like this turkey.
I'm a ginger. I can make fun of it. But come on, he's got that like hair comb thing. It's
Okay.
ridiculous.
I believe it.
Yeah.
He does. He's,
Right.
He spends a lot of time on the.
It's
on the
amazing putting
swoop.
his hair. Yeah.
We were chatting about some fun collection finds, and you had the Conan in there.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I had a really weird collection find that I went on a few years ago. This was before marijuana was legal in Washington State,
Okay.
but during the heart of medical cannabis just spreading everywhere.
Right. So it was legal-ish in
Yes.
the state of Washington. If you had your green card, you were able to smoke in a designated smoke area with the designated bong. Right. Absolutely.
Which is how it is now, but we're talking before you can go to a recreational store and just buy it with a license.
Right.
Also, with that green card, something you can do is grow a lot of pot. Okay? And,
For personal consumption.
well, here we go.
Right.
So so I get this. So there's this collection.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy's posts. This is a little tip for all you hunters out there looking for comic book finds on Craigslist, or really any place. If the picture is really poor, but you can spot even one thing that looks interesting, it's worth looking. It's
Yeah.
worth going, because typically it's going to at least be a good story. At the very least, there may be something there. So this is what the situation. There was one picture, and there was a big stack of books that were just kind of thrown out, a bunch of modern stuff, but there was an Action Comics, and it was a 12 center, but it was like in the pile in the back. It wasn't even being highlighted.
Sure.
And it happened to be like 20 minutes away from my house. At the time, I was in Woodinville, so this is like Kirkland. It's like we're talking 40 minutes north of Seattle.
Okay.
All right, 30 minutes north of Seattle or so. And so I got to this guy's place. He's very odd person, all right? But I'm not judging, you know?
Sure.
It's cool. But the first thing he tells me is like, oh, you're here for the comics. That's great, man. But I got pot if you want pot. It's the first thing he says. I'm like, okay, I'm here for the comics, dude. And
Right.
I'm not. And
You're
like,
not a narc,
and this
are
is
you?
like,
Because I got pot. Yeah.
He's like, but it's the strangest thing because it was like, I just met him, and I'm like, I'm here to get this, and it was more important for him to tell me that he had pot available than to sell me the comics I'm there to like. I've been texting him about
Yeah.
that he couldn't send me pictures of. He's like, oh no, I don't. My phone doesn't do that. Kind of. It was a weird kind of situation, but I'm like, all right, but he's got him, and he's really close. So I go in there, and he's like, yeah, I got pot. I'm like, all right. So I would go into this place, and this place is like, it doesn't even look like someone's living there, which was another weird thing. Like, there was people living there. There was a bed. I saw a bed, but it didn't look like there was people actually living there.
Yeah.
Because the entire house was gutted, and plants are everywhere. Plants are everywhere, but it's not like healthy plants.
Yeah.
It's like plants that they've already taken care of. It's just a mess in the house. So there's no actual like growing plants. There's not lights or anything, but it's just dead plants all around the house. And he's like, all right, let me get to the comics. And dude, the guy goes in the corner. He starts pulling. I don't think I ever told you this story.
Not the whole story.
Okay,
You told me a little bit about this. Yeah.
Because, okay, so he starts digging through, and he pulls out the most grimy looking 2 cardboard boxes, and they're just stacked to brim with comics. But it was as if they were literally thrown in there from across the room. Like, they were just all mangled in there. Some of them, you can see some of the pages coming out. And I'm like, all right, I have to go through each of them to see if there's anything there. And he's, you know, he told me, he's like, oh, I'm looking for a couple hundred probably at the least. And I'm looking at this box. I'm like, it's probably not going to be a couple hundred, but I'm just going to see what's in there. So I started going through it, and it was crap. It was a bunch of crap. A lot of stuff that was low grade that we couldn't is like waterlogged. And at the time, I was just getting into pressing, so I'm thinking, all right, this is actually good like homework I can take, but there's like no money here. Right. But I start going through it, and mind you, there are pot leaves that are in this box. Like this has been in a room where plants are being, trimmed. There's a machine in the room where where he would put the plants in, and then it goes over a fan, and so there's this fan that has just old marijuana residue all around it in the middle of the room, and then there's this box of comics that just looks like it was sitting in the room the whole time that all this took place. That they were like, yeah, we gotta sell those comics. We're gonna make a lot of money on those comics. So we go through it. I remember getting to a point though, going, oh, Booster Gold #1.
Okay,
that's fun.
That's cool.
That's a cool little thing. Hey, like Booster Gold #1, and it was like VF, like it wasn't waterlogged or anything. Okay. I remember like seeing that, and then
sure, one nice book.
But I pulled the next one, Booster Gold #1. Okay, and another VF copy looking good, and then I pulled another one, another Booster Gold #1. There were 3 copies of Booster Gold #1.
Okay,
and I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, that's just strangest thing. And then it goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it went like fold. I think it's like 16 comics in that run or something like that. But it was like it was like one comic missing. I remember it was incomplete, but there was 3 #1s in most of the rest of the run. And then maybe there was like a couple early appearances of some like it was like minor Superman keys, nothing huge, but enough Booster Gold to make me happy to make the trip down there.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Yeah, man, I don't know. Is there you want him for anything?" And I don't even remember what I gave him because I think what I told him was no, I don't want him because he wanted like a couple $100 and I wasn't gonna argue. But he ended up selling to me because he didn't want them. But it wasn't before he took me outside to his backyard because he kept saying he wanted to show me his garden, and I'm thinking I'm in the house, like this is the garden, right? But I mean, like, there's no live plants. I'm assuming that they cycle plants in here or something.
Sure.
He's like, oh no, this is where we do this stuff. So he takes me outside. And mind you, this is like a
Kirkland.
This is Kirkland. There's a ton of places. Like I can see his neighbor here, his neighbor here, his neighbor like I'm in his backyard. His backyard, there are 2 plants, only 2 plants, and they are. I'm trying to think of like the best thing I can describe how big they look like bushes. It's one plant that you couldn't like if we were to both extend our arms, we would have to take at least 6 of us. And there were 2 of them side by side. 6 of us would have to go around each like this because it was one plant. Yeah. I've never seen it. It was a tree in the middle of his backyard, and there's a tent around it.
Okay,
each of them.
Yeah,
and there's houses all around. And he goes, "Yeah, the neighbors fucking hate it, but I got my card. I got my card." That's what he said, and I'm just standing there like, "This is a freaking tree." It's a tree, but yeah, that's what they were doing. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll take the comics. Also, we got a Sega Genesis in that barn, but the barn's locked. My dad's not home. But when he comes back, I'm gonna dig it out for you." He's just talking out of this, and he never called me about it. But yeah, it was a strange thing. I want to get the hell out of there as quickly as I can because he just really wanted me to buy. He's like, "Oh man, I make the best mixtures with this," and it was like the dirtiest place I've ever hunted for comics through. And the last thing I want to do is smoke anything that he made.
I'm not going to hang out here at all whatsoever.
Gotta go. Yeah. But anyways, that happened. And I think I still have his number in my phone as the guy who may have a Sega Genesis.
Is the guy who may have a Sega
yeah,
Genesis?
like Sega Genesis ? Booster Gold. I think that's what's under my phone because that's how I remember the collections. Is
I
like
have
the
notes
key.
like that in my phone too.
But yeah, that happened, and I'm curious. Does the audience have any weird collection finds? Maybe they can put it in the comment section below.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should probably make sure to like and subscribe to the video too.
You should do that, and always remember to geek responsibly.
Enough said. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, geekstreet101.com. That's my website where you can sign up for the mystery mail call where I send you comic books monthly.